Today we're going to talk about the issues that happen with the teenagers in the home because of the death that they were dealing with, the sickness in the home, and then consequently the death. And she dealt with trying to cope with her husband being sick. Her father had passed away. Her mother was now living with her. Her son ended up starting taking drugs. One of them started cutting themselves. The other one was having an identity crisis, trying to figure out his sexual orientation, not sure how he was supposed to do all of this. And it was like a snowball effect in the family. And really, if you're going through this right now, this is very normal. And we're going to go through Pollyanna's story with her boys and what happened. And we're going to do that because we want you to know that you're not going to be able to see it all. You're not going to be able to identify everything that's happening. It's very important you surround yourself with people who love you and adore you and are ready and willing to keep a watchful eye out for you as well, because we can't do it all. And it's hard enough if you are a parent now with healthy parents in the home. You know it's hard enough to parent as it is, so make sure you do that. That was one of the things that Polly and I had discussed that we thought would be a really good takeaway for you guys on this one. But we're going to walk you through basically what happened, with whom, and some of the solutions that you came up with dealing with some. First of all, do you think most of this happened because of a sickness of somebody in the home, a parent, or is this a teenage thing, or do you think it's...
The first session was definitely a teenage thing.
Okay.
Definitely. My oldest boy was, met new kids when he got into high school. And so all of a sudden he's meeting all these new people, and all these new people are doing different things, and he wanted to be a part of it all. So he started, and there was a few things that I caught on to. Like all of a sudden he was carrying a knapsack everywhere. No school books in it. And he would come home, no matter when he came home, he would shower. So I was like, okay, something's going on here.
This isn't typical behavior for him.
Yeah. So I thought, this isn't normal. So one day he went off to school, and I searched his room. And I found a little weed pipe. So when he came home, I said, whose is this? Oh, no, that's not my mom. I'm storing that for a friend.
Of course, been there, done that,
yes. Yeah. I said, you are? Well, you tell your little friend that this isn't acceptable in my home, and that he can hide it in his own home. So
did you know it?
The garbage.
That it was him? Or were you kind of taking him at face value?
I was...
Hoping it wasn't him.
It wasn't him, and he actually was telling me the truth. And,
yeah, we do that, don't we?
Yes. But then, he was just going out more and always had his knapsack. And then a friend phoned me and said, your boy was smoking dope behind my fence. And then him and a few of his friends, and then they went to the movies. So I went to the movies. And they were like, oh, that's $7.50 or whatever it was at the time. And I said, no, I'm not staying. So I just walked right in. I found the theater he was in. I dragged him out by his ear. Embarrassed him. Oh, he's like, oh my God, Mom, how could you embarrass me so much? And I'm like, do you think I wasn't embarrassed to get a phone call like that?
And because you care. That's the thing that they don't get. Right?
And then he started skipping school.
Oh, dear.
So... And at first, he would race home and delete the message. So I didn't get it.
Right. Yes, that phone call. Phone calls. I gotta love them.
So then I actually got one. Right? I was home and I answered it. And it said, you have a kid from this school that didn't attend this class. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I went to the school. And I said, I would like to see the attendance record for my son. So they gave it to me, and I was like, oh my God. And they said, oh no, this isn't bad. He's not actually bad. He's pretty good. And I'm like, no, this is not acceptable. So I sat him down and I said to him, you do realize that I'm retired. Like, I don't go to work every day. He was, yeah. And I said, if you do not stop skipping, I will meet you outside of each of your classrooms, and I will hold your hand to the next classroom. And I said,
Did it work?
I have the time
Yep.
and I will do it.
Yep.
And I said, I am going to the school every Friday and I am getting an attendance. And if I do not see this improvement, I said, you will be disciplined. And he's like, okay. So it worked.
Would you have followed through with that, and did he know that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that's the big difference. That's why things work or don't work, right?
Yeah. See, that was the thing. Like, pulling him out of the theater by his ear, he realized that if I said something,
You were going to do
I
it.
meant it. Yeah.
Little.
And there was a couple of times that they were fighting over a toy. I was driving, and they were fighting over a stupid toy. And I said to them, put it down. Stop doing it. No. And I said, boys, put down the toy, or else I'm going to throw it out. Nope, they kept fighting, so I reached back, I grabbed the toy, kept driving. And they were like, she threw it away. They were
I think that was an ice cream cone.
I feel bad now because I threw the toy out and it was littering, and
Well,
but-
the littering part, but you made your
they,
point.
they learned at a very young age. And also one time we were vacuuming and I said to the boys, pick up all your toys because whatever's on the floor when we come back with the vacuum, it's going in the garbage. And they didn't. So my husband went down, got a garbage bag, we put everything in the garbage. Now, we only took it in the garage, but they didn't know that.
Yes.
They thought we were going to throw everything out. So
We
they
did that one year and then brought it out the following year at Christmas time.
Oh, that would have been a good. We forgot we even had it until we moved.
Yeah.
And then we found this bag of toys and we're like, oh, well, I guess they don't need them. Nobody missed them.
That's true.
Yeah, we forgot all about them. So the boys learned at a very young age that if mom and dad said something, they carried it.
Right.
So yeah,
That's
he absolutely knew it.
And I
would
think
go.
it's really important to establish that when the kids are younger. So when you're going through something like this,
Absolutely.
you don't have to now work at establishing the fact that you will stick with what you say you're going to do.
Because they
So
know you will.
They know you will or they know you won't.
Yeah, if they know that they can walk all over you, that's another option. But he did some kicking back and lying, and so I set up an appointment for a counselor, and I took him, every week.
And this was even before Stephen got sick, like the second time around, right?
The second, yes.
Yeah.
This was in the middle of it.
Right.
So yeah.
Mm.
So I can't remember what day it was, but every Tuesday, whatever, and I would in the truck we go.
Did it
I'd
help?
drive him down, and yeah,
He was 16, so you
He was-
could still do it, right?
yes.
Because
If
where
he-
we live, it's
Actually, he was 50,
15.
so I could still.
Right.
If he had been
16.
16,
We dealt with
I
that
would
in our
have been
house, and
able.
he was 18, and there was nothing I could do about it,
I know.
according to the law. But then I just kind of said, you if you hurt any one of the other kids,
You're gone.
you will be gone. And I actually have a video on it called Tough Love, because you don't have a lot of resources left
No.
when you can't force them to do things to get help for themselves. So,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to kick him out just because he was doing drugs. He was still only 18, but the other kids should not be affected by his. And anyway, it's in the story of Tough Love.
Yeah, so he did. He went to the counseling. He did improve tremendously until he finished high school the year before he was going to college. So that dead zone. He was going to work and make money first. He ended up, getting even worse. Even worse. So him and his girlfriend at the time decided that they wanted to quit because they wanted to go to school and they wanted to get smart. They went to Australia. And they were in Australia for a month and came back completely clean.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Well, good for
They're
them.
just amazing. I thought, I had no idea you were such a great kid. And her too. She was an amazing young girl.
That's awesome.
And I had seen the drug side of her, so I was she was scary when she was over drinking or doing drugs or whatever. But she was a scary individual. So when she got all cleaned up and they were so much fun to be with.
Nice.
Yes, and then Stephen and him and my youngest ended up taking a few trips. We went to Alaska, we went to Utah. They every summer went to a different set of mountains in the Appalachian Trail, and they would pick certain mountains to climb, and they would climb them every summer.
So this was all before Steve got really sick the second time around.
Yeah, this was in the middle.
Okay, so now your oldest son is now cleaned up.
Yeah.
Your husband gets sick again, and the boys find out about it.
Yeah.
Your younger son was going through some identity crisis to some degree, right?
Yes.
What was going on in his life? And
Well, I got a call from a teacher actually, and she said, "Your son's cutting himself. There's something wrong." And I said, "I don't think so." Right?
stunned.
And she said, "No." I said, "My son loves, like he loves himself. Like he wouldn't do that to his own body."
He did good in grades.
Oh, absolutely.
And he was very self-confident.
Yeah, and he was he had a lot.
Outgoing.
Yeah, he had friends like everywhere. Like everywhere he went, he had friends. He was kind of the perfect kid. He was into sports, but he was also, he won the chess tournaments in the school as well, and he was very smart. He knew where he was going to go, what he was going to do, and how he was going to get there. So he got home from school. I said, "We need to sit down and have a talk." And he goes, "Okay, right." We were always very open with each other, so that's kind of why I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "I got a call from whoever it was." I said, "They noticed that you've been cutting yourself. Is this true?" He goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "Mom, she saw some scratches on my arms. It was his girlfriend's cat." I go, "Well, how could she mistake cat scratches for cutting?" And I kind of played it off. But I said to him, "From now on, you won't be walking around with long sleeves on." He's like, "Okay." So he did. He did, and I watched him, and I checked, and he stopped because he realized that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he never admitted it, he realized that
You know.
that I was going to be keeping my eye out for it.
So did you two ever talk about why?
Not
Officially?
then. Once Stephen got sick the second time, they went down to a baseball. He was still at the stage where he could go for a few hours to the game and then come home. So they would plan to get there like in the first or second inning, and then they would leave the youngest and him, and had such a great day that my son decided to tell my husband that he was bisexual, that he was interested in guys and had actually gone on dates with men. When his girlfriend broke up with him, he decided that he wasn't going to go out with any girls anymore because they were crazy. So he decided that he was going to try the gay side because he liked home, and he went upstairs, and Stephen went in, laid down. He said, "I need a nap." I'm like, "Okay." And he didn't tell me. My youngest went up, and him and his brother were upstairs, and I could hear them laughing, just having a great time, right? So then they came downstairs together, and they're still laughing. And then my son says, "Mom, can we talk?" I said, "Of course we can, right? I'm always here for you, right? What do you need to talk about?" He goes, "Yeah, I've told Dad, and I just told,
My brother.
yes."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I'm bisexual." And I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Okay." And he goes, "You aren't disappointed in me?" And I go, "Well, why would I be disappointed in you?" I said, "It's new to me." I said, "You got to remember, I grew up in a time where that was frowned upon.
Or not talked about, for sure.
Yeah, or buried."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "So you're going to have to give me some adjustment time,
Mm-hmm.
but you're my son, and I love you no matter what. I will learn to adapt."
Yes.
And he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Man, you have no idea." He says, "I was so afraid of telling you." And I went, "Why?" I said, "I love you more than life itself." He goes, "Yeah, but we watched this movie once, and these two guys kissed, and I made some off-the-cuff comment." Well, that was it. He could never tell me.
Oh.
And I had no idea.
It's
And-
amazing how much our kids pick up on our comments and our suggestions or our raised
I
eyebrows.
said, you know how I am. I said, seeing two guys kiss on a bench or seeing a guy and girl kiss on a bench, that's private stuff. You do that at home. You know, your father and I were never, we don't display our love like that in public. I said, I would have been just as ew if it had been a guy and a girl. You know that. Like, that's just, it's private. You keep that stuff in your
Did he
house.
confide in you that was part of the problem why he was cutting himself?
Yeah.
At that time?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that he was suicidal. That his girlfriend that he went out with from grade 10, when he first said that he wished he was dead. And she was just a friend talking to him on the phone, and that was actually why they started going out together. She was like, "Oh no, you can't be like, I love you." And he was, "Oh, you do?" So that started their relationship. He struggled with it a lot. Now he's married, very happy from what I can tell, and his husband is extremely smart and nice and
So
cute.
do you feel, Stephen was sick through part of that, so do you think it was that he didn't want to come and tell you on all that because it was just going to add more on to you?
I think
So
it was the
just-
sickness that made him come forward.
Well, because he was ready and willing to tell his dad, right?
Yeah.
Before
He didn't
He
want his
didn't have-
dad dying without
Without
knowing who
that
he
is
really
the oldest one then goes back into drugs at
Yes.
one point. And was this when Stephen was really sick?
After he died,
After he died? Well,
about a year after he died, he worked for a long time, and then I could not stay in the house that Stephen died in. My grief actually helped me get through getting a new house. Finding a new house, it made me driven. I couldn't.
It gave you something to do.
Stay there. So we moved into the new house. We put up the fence. We did all the work, and then the next year, my son started working with the couple of other people, and they introduced it back into his life. And
he'd already been down this road, so he kind of knew what it was. It
no, it was worse.
Oh, it was the harder stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I'd never seen anybody that ever was a drug user. I had no idea what. So yeah, I thought he was just drinking too much. And I would say to him, "You need to get some help, boy." Like, "Oh, I know, Mom. I know. I got to get some help." And then he'd be good for a while, and then he'd go back down, and then he'd be good.
You know, I'm the same way, right? I was so naive to all of this. Like, I had no idea. It took my daughter saying to me, "Mom, ask
Yeah.
him about drugs," and I went,
It was my
"About
niece.
what?" She said drugs. I went, "What do you mean drugs?" Like literally, I'm
Dumbfounded. Yeah.
well, it's not even just dumbfounded. My brain wasn't coping or comprehending what that meant because as a teenager, I just out and out decided I was never even going to try it.
Right.
So, and I never hung around people that
No,
did.
I had no idea how people acted. Even though, I mean, we watched, my husband and I watched a movie with Michael Keaton, and it was about being hooked on cocaine and how they got off it and stuff. But
Oh yeah, we know it's out there.
yeah,
We just don't ever assume it's going to get into our inner circle.
well,
At least
I didn't even put two and two. I didn't put hard drugs.
Yes.
I thought, okay, you are drinking too much.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to stop drinking. Right? But I didn't realize that he was drinking so much because
Right.
he was doing coke.
So why do you think he went back? I mean, it was different
Oh, it
drugs,
was with
but
his
obviously,
friends, his buddies again. He was working with his buddies.
so
And
it had nothing to do with Steve dying or
I don't think so.
no.
But I could never get him to talk about it. He did the counseling while Stephen was sick
Right.
with his brother.
Yeah.
The two of them did. And they did it religiously. And for the first year after Stephen died, he was fine. Like, he was clean. And now that he's clean again, I see the difference. So if he ever starts becoming that person again, yeah.
Well, don't you kind of do this? I mean, with my son, he's in the house. The first thing I do is look at his eyes. Like, I try not to be obvious about it, but I look at his eyes because I used to see this look that come across his eyes if he was stoned. It took me a long time to figure out that's what
Yeah.
that was. And so now if I actually see anything, I instantly, my red flags goes up. And it takes me about 2 hours before I finally bring the subject up. And I'll go, so how are you doing? Because we're concerned
My
again.
son, it's his temper.
Ah,
So if the silliest thing, he will fly off the handle. Doors are slamming, and he'll drive in, squealing his tires into his parking spot, and then the music will be loud. Like I'll be able
well,
to,
then you can't miss it.
yeah, I'll be able to hear him like a kilometer away, right?
Right.
So I'm like, oh God, he's doing it again.
But he's been clean for how long now?
For 3 months.
For 3 months.
Yeah, you can't predict what the future is going to give you. You can't predict. So I'm very proud of him for his 3 months, and
Absolutely.
I'm praying that he will be able to continue it. But if he does stumble or fall, I mean, I used to smoke, and I quit smoking for many years before Stephen got sick, and I started smoking again.
Mm.
When Stephen got sick, it gave me a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to start drinking, so I started smoking again. And just recently, I was able to conquer that again. And it took me 4 years. Stephen's been gone 4 years. I kept telling myself, this is only temporary. I'm only doing this to get through the pain of losing my husband, through the pain of, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting there one time and I was shaking. It was Halloween. Shaking and cold. And I'm like, what am I doing? How am I setting a good example for my son when I'm out here doing this? So I quit.
An addiction is an addiction, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I quit, and I rub it into his face every day. I have quit smoking for 3 months, 14 hours, and
So here's I guess the question that I'd kind of like to maybe wrap this up with. Do you when you are around him, do you always present yourself like you just believe he's conquered it and you just keep a watchful eye, or do you allow him to know that you have that watchful eye? What's the best way to go about that?
best way? Oh, I don't know. Ask me in 20 years, and I'll tell you if it
Yeah.
worked.
Hindsight again, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do let him know that I am watching him. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I don't know if he feels that I'm nagging him, and maybe that's why he went, okay, I'm going to Australia, right? Because then I can't watch him every day.
He might be going to Australia though, because that's where he got clean the first time. He may have just
But-
found it was easy.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm kind of hoping. But yes, I do let him know that I am watching him, and that I am, and that I'm here. I'm trying not to judge you. I'm
Yes.
trying not to, but if you need me, I'm here, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to help you and make sure that you have a happy, safe,
And
wonderful.
that's, it's a great way to end the segment, because that's truthfully what it is we're doing. No matter
Yeah.
what it is we're doing, when we're keeping that watchful eye, it isn't to nag, and that's what that is how they're going to perceive it, probably.
Yes.
Until they get older and they realize.
Until they have children of their own, and then they go, oh, yeah, Mom was right.
Yeah. So I don't know whether or not you were on the journey with us in the last segment with Polly or not, but she's been through quite a roller coaster ride over the last several years. She's got quite a story. Please check out both of the videos now. And as always, we want to wish you an awesome day.